of the Board of Regents called at the request of all board members. I'd like to begin with a roll call. Regent Acker,
Present.
Regent Beam,
Present.
Regent Bernstein,
Present.
Regent Brown,
Here.
Regent Hubbard,
Here.
Regent Illich,
Here.
Regent Myers,
Here.
Regent White.
Here.
I will now turn the meeting over to Regent and Chair Mark Bernstein.
Thank you, Domenico. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. The Michigan Constitution of 1850 first established the office of President of the University of Michigan and directed the newly elected Board of Regents to select someone to fill that role. 2 years later, in 1852, the board elected Henry Philip Tappan to serve as our first president. Today, 174 years later, this board will honor our constitutional responsibility by electing Kent Syverud to serve as president of our university. I want to begin by thanking Regent Mike Beam, my co-chair in this search. Of course, I want to thank my colleagues on the Board of Regents who met this challenge in a way that reflects the highest aspirations and values of our beloved university. I want to thank the distinguished faculty, staff, students, and alumni from the Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and Flint campuses, including Michigan Medicine, who served on our Presidential Search Advisory Committee, many of whom are here today. I want to thank President Domenico Grasso for his heroic, and his wife Susan, for their heroic effort leading our university with integrity, with conviction, and with wisdom. I want to thank John Kinsey and his team who supported this complex effort with precision and care. I want to thank Mary Gorman and Alexis Stiles from Spencer Stewart who facilitated this process from start to finish with expertise and experience. Thank you. Most importantly, I want to thank our Michigan students, our faculty, our staff, past and present, who make this the best and most challenging job in higher education. You make this an institution that is worthy of these consequential moments. We have successfully completed a presidential search that begins a new chapter at the University of Michigan. We all know that the stakes cannot be higher for our university and our society. American higher education faces more challenges now than at any point since World War II. Given our position in the nation and in our state, it is imperative for us to have a leader who is prepared to meet these challenges. We need a leader with integrity and character and conviction. We need a leader with experience who will provide stability and vision. We need a leader who understands our university, who knows this university firsthand, who knows what Michigan means to our students, to our faculty, to our state, to our society. We found that in Kent Syverud. During one of his many interviews, Kent said, given Michigan's unrivaled breadth and scope of excellence across every discipline, our global reach, our world-class healthcare, our massive research enterprise, the president of the University of Michigan must be someone who believes it when they say that the University of Michigan is the best university in the world. We know that you believe that. We believe that. We didn't have to look very far. Kent earned 2 graduate degrees at Michigan. He met his wife, Dr. Ruth Chen, at Michigan. They were married at Michigan. He taught at Michigan Law School. He currently serves on our Alumni Association Board of Directors. In fact, 33 years ago, in 1993, then Professor Kent Syverud taught my very first class on my very first day at Michigan Law. Kent appreciates the challenges that we face. He's a deep, steady, and broad thinker. He has a track record of success. But perhaps most important and impressive is his own Michigan story. He came to Ann Arbor for law school with little more than a suitcase and a dream. He not only graduated at the top of his class, he joined our faculty and became one of our leading scholars before launching a career in administration at our nation's finest law schools. And for the last 12 years, he has served as a transformative chancellor and president of Syracuse University. He is a true Michigan success story, and his leadership will enable many more stories of growth, discovery, transformation, and impact at Michigan. For these reasons, it is my great honor to support the election of Kent Syverud to serve as the next president of the University of Michigan. And at this time, I'd like to call on Vice Chair Mike Beam, who has a resolution to introduce.
On behalf of the Board of Regents and pursuant to Article 8, Section 5 of the Michigan Constitution, and in accordance with the terms and conditions of a certain letter of agreement that has been previously agreed upon, with its effectiveness being subject to approval and ratification at this meeting, I present the finalist and hereby nominate Kent Syverud as the 16th President of the University of Michigan. The letter agreement will be attached to the minutes of this meeting.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I know the regents have some comments, and we will begin with Regent White.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. This is a monumental day for the University of Michigan. As we install our 16th president, we are so fortunate to have Kent Syverud to take us forward to continue the great tradition that is the University of Michigan. Kent and his family have deep family ties here because they were here for so long, getting degrees and raising their family. And I want to be the first to say to them, welcome home and go blue.
Regent Illich.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited. I'm ecstatic. This is such a beautiful day at the University of Michigan. I just want to share a couple thoughts. Thank the members of the search committee and our co-chairs, Mark and Mike. It's an enormous amount of work, but it's a labor of love. I think one of the most impressive factors about Kent is his deep roots of Michigan. And Mark really outlined it very well, but I was so impressed by his love of the university, which is second to none. He has the highest integrity, extremely experienced, very well respected by all walks of life, through references, through people that have volunteered their thoughts, their experiences that they've had working with him over his very stellar career. He really does define a Michigan man, as we often hear. I got one text, which I thought was so lovely. They said the University of Michigan community, quote, crushed it, close quote. So I want to thank the University of Michigan community for participating in this search, and to please give both he and Dr. Chen a warm Michigan welcome as they transition in the new position, and that they show grace to allow them to get acclimated. So welcome, Kent and Dr. Chen, welcome back. We're very, very happy to have you here with us and partner with us during this really important period. Thank you.
Regent Acker.
Thank you. To your family, President-elect Syverud. Welcome home, as the regent said. We had to make sure that we found a president who was coming here for the weather. But in all seriousness, when we did this search, when we talked to people that knew you throughout your career, the words that kept coming up over and over again was quietly transformative. That was the phrase. Integrity, and all of the things that we hold dear as an institution. We couldn't be happier to have you here, to fill this chair, and I'm really looking forward to working with you and refreshing your maize and blue attire over the next few months. Welcome home.
Regent Bean.
Thanks, Domenico. A couple of things. During the search process, I heard a few words that described President-elect Syverud that I had never heard before. And one person described you as a fearless listener. And I can't think of a type of a compliment with regard to what we're dealing with right here on campus and how welcome that will be. Also, some of the qualities that you have with implementing goals after imagining those goals and making them happen, like Jordan just referred to, and then also how that will positively affect our campuses at Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and Flint. And then finally, in the last 24 hours, it has been amazing how many emails and texts that I've received from friends, colleagues across the country, and 100% just ecstatic with regard to you becoming our president. And I think on a lighter note, one of them came from one of your colleagues at Vanderbilt, and he said what an incredible hire this was. And this colleague played poker with President-elect Syverud. And if you can get a compliment from someone when you're taking their money playing poker, I think that is an incredibly high compliment. So welcome, and welcome everyone.
Regent Hubbard.
Thank you, President Grasso. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today with everybody and help support our new president, President Syverud. And I look forward to partnering with President Syverud as we build on Michigan's proud tradition and chart an ambitious, forward-looking path for the University of Michigan. It's an exciting time for our university. I'm really optimistic about the future ahead, and I look forward to working with everybody in our campus community. One thing we heard from the search advisory community, from the entire community, is that they wanted someone who understood Michigan and had been at Michigan before, and we found our guy. Welcome.
Regent Myers.
I'm going to concur with the comments of my colleagues. So much has been said, it would be redundant to keep going. But I'd like to thank President-elect Syverud. Your wealth of knowledge, experience in higher education, and most importantly, life will serve you well as the next president of the University of Michigan. And I'm really excited to hear about your interest and commitment to the University of Michigan Dearborn campus and the University of Michigan Flint campus, two important parts of the university campus portfolio. And to President Grasso, thank you for your service to the University of Michigan over this period of transition. The future is bright. Go Blue.
Thank you. Regent Brown.
Thank you. I'd also like to second all of the comments of my colleagues. I'd also like to take a moment to point out how unique this institution is, this experiment of publicly funded and run through the people, through the Board of Regents. Higher education is a real model for the world that has transformed not only our state, but the world. And as that, I think I want to thank again all of the people in the community that participated in the town halls and the listening sessions, of which I attended most and board members attended all. That's what makes this institution so great, is that we are a public institution for solely the public good of the people of Michigan, our country, and the world. And personally, as the regent that grew up in outstate Michigan, I was particularly excited to have a candidate who has for many decades owned a home in northern Michigan, near my childhood home, and to tell the people all over the state of Michigan, maybe those who have never been on this campus, we will have a president who understands you and understands how to make this University of Michigan important and impactful to all the citizens of the state. So thank you.
It is a distinct honor to welcome Kent Syverud as the next president of the University of Michigan. Kent, as a Michigan alumnus and former faculty member, you understand how special this place is. I speak from experience as an alumnus myself who returned to lead the institution. Your homecoming will be like no other. It is a great honor and responsibility. Over the past year, our community has worked diligently to reaffirm pride and trust in Michigan, to showcase our impact as a research university, and to prepare the institution for new leadership. I've had the privilege of working with an exceptional team, doing my best to help propel Michigan firmly into the passing lane. As I prepare to hand over the wheel to you, I am confident that you will not only keep the university in the fast lane, but also press the accelerator to the floor, realizing the university's fullest potential as it begins its next chapter. You may move so fast that you risk a speeding ticket, but as an accomplished attorney, I have no doubt you will mount a successful defense. As a university chancellor, you already know you'll encounter bright, dedicated, creative, and opinionated faculty, students, and staff. Michigan will amplify those encounters. I sincerely believe the collective dedication to our University of Michigan is unmatched in higher education. We all want the best for this jewel of academic excellence, transformative research, and public service. Susan and I are dedicated to welcome you, your wife, Dr. Ruth Chen, your sons, and your grandchildren to this campus. I know Ruth holds 2 Michigan degrees, and we always love welcoming alumni back to Ann Arbor. I want to thank the faculty, staff, students, and alumni who served on the Presidential Search Committee for their efforts in bringing you here. Your service has helped shape the future, will help shape the future of our university. Kent, I look forward to working with you in the coming months as you prepare to lead the greatest university in the world, forever committed to the public good. You and the university can always count on Susan and me for whatever you may need. Now, as we do in the military, there is typically a change of command ceremony where the standard is passed from the outgoing commander to the new commander. So I'd like to welcome you up here. And in a mixed metaphor, not only am I passing the standard, but I am identifying him as our #1 draft pick.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, forever go blue, and now I'll turn the podium over to you, President-elect.
Thank you, Chair Bernstein, members of the Board of Regents, and President Grasso, including for those incredibly kind words. I gratefully and cheerfully accept appointment as the 16th president of the University of Michigan. Thank you as well for all the things all of you have done for Michigan. I should warn you all right away that I'm a better listener than I am a public speaker. I actually like listening, including to people who disagree with me. And I like it because when I listen, I always learn something, including sometimes that I am wrong. I also believe always in starting with grace. There are so many people to thank for this day. The 8 regents of this university are volunteers who in normal times give up much of their lives to the mission of the university. These are not normal times. Our regents have had to step up in so many more demanding ways in recent years to keep this school going forward. You have done so selflessly and tirelessly, often under great stress. I am deeply grateful, and I really look forward to working with and learning from each of you. To President Grasso, thank you for stepping up to lead and heal when your university needed you. I also thank you as well and your wife for helping embody the servant leadership that this university has so badly needed. The search advisory committee for the president's search here was so impressive. Their quality and their care for this institution was truly inspiring, and I thank each of them. The search firm team at Spencer Stewart, led by Mary Gorman, the internal team, led by John Kinsey, was rigorous and attentive and patient, and I thank you very much. I also want to thank Syracuse, both the university and the Central New York community. For the last 12 years, I have been blessed to work with and know and love that unique and wonderful community. we intended for that community to be our home long after I stepped down as chancellor, which was long been planned for this coming June. Only one place, Michigan, my alma mater, could have changed that plan. And most of all, I thank my family, some of whom are here today, my wife, Dr. Ruth Chen, my sons, Brian, Stephen, and David. They have come here today from California and New Jersey and New York. It has been 13 years since I agreed to interview for a job. And I did not originally think I should interview for this one. Ruth and my sons coached me that I should do this. They each passionately believe in the maize and blue, and they once again have supported me every step of this way. I thank them. The search committee asked me basically why Michigan and why now. The simple answer is I do believe Michigan has been, is now, and must remain the best public research university anywhere. That has been my experience of Michigan. This university gave me everything I have become. As you heard a little bit from Chair Bernstein, I came here to go to school, and I came here because you gave me a scholarship, that the resources that made it possible for me to afford to go here. I'm embarrassed to say how long ago it was. In May of 1978, I arrived in front of the Michigan Union on a Greyhound bus with one suitcase. And I walked across State Street, and my life was changed, as it has been for so many thousands of others before and since, at Flint, at Dearborn, at Ann Arbor, and around the world. You taught me in the law school and in the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. I met and married Ruth here. We were married on this campus. Ruth was a doctoral student in the School of Public Health and Toxicology. I made lifelong friends here, as so many of you did as well. I became a rabid Wolverine sports fan, and boy, did Ruth and I manage to pass that along to all our kids. Ruth and I eventually did come back here to teach and conduct research, and once again, this community gave us everything. Great students and colleagues and neighbors, great ideas and libraries and museums and parks and music, in the most beautiful state anywhere. Michigan medicine saved the life of one of our sons. It really showed me what first-rate healthcare can be in the United States of America. We owe Michigan everything. To pay that forward by helping steward this special place now, really is the greatest honor and responsibility I can imagine. Thank you for trusting me. I have so much to learn still and to listen to as I get up to speed in the next few months. I ask your patience and your help as I do that. These are challenging times for Michigan, for higher education, indeed for the whole world. We at this university have a choice how we can respond. We can curl up in a ball and say, woe is me, and whine, or we can do what Michigan has always done when it's at its best. We can lead. We can lead not by arrogantly lecturing others, but by modeling each day in small ways and in big ones the values and the ideas and the innovation and the civil engagement that this world so badly needs. I want to help us do that, and I want to help us do that always remembering our special obligation to the people of the state of Michigan, all the people of the state of Michigan who created this institution and who merit our priority. I am ready to help steward us in leading. I hope you are too. Thank you, and please go blue.
So now we will adjourn our meeting, but as much as I am fond of the gavel, which I love using at these meetings, I think the best thing to do now is give President-elect Kent Syverud one last final round of applause as we adjourn.
I know you all reiterated it, but the reason for excitement for Kent from an athletics perspective.
Yeah, we know he's from a university that has great programs.
The most important challenge of all is whether the people of the United States understand and support higher education in times where doubts have been formed in many minds. We've become an incredibly successful country in part because of our having the best higher education system in the world. And I think that's particularly been true in the state of Michigan. And I'm worried we may be losing that for a whole host of reasons. And we have to do our part to turn that around.
Are you specifically talking about research and valuing higher education?
I'm talking about everything that goes into public support and success of higher education institutions in the United States.
President Trump has been attacking funding for higher education, academic freedom. How are you going to navigate that with this president?
Well, I'll say every school is different. I've been navigating the CBS mic for quite a while already this year. And I suspect I'm going to learn more at Michigan by listening to people, so it may be a little different here, but I'm going to use my experience at Syracuse in doing that.
also another problem for the university recently has been its athletic department. It's been involved in a series of scandals and criminal charges have been launched. How are you going to address that, and are you going to possibly remove the athletic director?
So it would be wrong for me to comment on that because there's a process going on within the university, and I'm not part of that process because I won't be president until the end of the semester. I can tell you that athletics in many places is a mess, and that the whole system of governing athletics in the United States remains a mess. And maybe to preview a little bit of my attitude, I remain at the moment the only president of a major university who has been willing to go on the record to say my fervent belief that collective bargaining nationally with student athletes is going to be an essential part of success, as it is currently for all successful professional sports.
William Deep with MY, who first wrote the story on your presidency. When you announced in August of 2025 that you'd be stepping down from the chancellorship at Syracuse University, did you have the presidency role at the University of Michigan in mind?
It's a good question. I had planned to step down at Syracuse more than a year ago. I delayed the announcement so that the university could, in an orderly and successful way, recruit a successor. So I can assure you more than a year ago, it didn't even occur to me that Michigan would be looking for a president. So the answer is no. This was surprising to me as well as to my family that this has happened.
What do you feel of this talk and this image of what a Michigan man is, and being someone who has graduated from here, but that term being thrown around a lot recently? How do you interpret that, and what does that mean to you as you step into this relationship?
Well, I've heard the term Michigan man mostly in connection with athletics at Michigan, and I don't use it because I believe athletics in Michigan involves men and women, and I fervently believe in women's sports as well. I don't know what that culture means lately. When I was here, it meant a certain set of values and practices associated with Coach Schembechler. I think what's relevant is that culture changes and institutions change, and Coach Schembechler has been gone a long time. So I suspect that lots of people have been working hard on what Michigan people means in athletics going forward.
What's job one for you?
What's job one?
Job one, yeah.
I don't know yet. Job one is to come back as much as I can, consistent with my job at Syracuse, and to spend a lot of in-depth time with students, with staff, with professionals in Michigan medicine on all three campuses. And I'm starting that this afternoon on the Flint campus. And it is to understand Michigan now, not the Michigan of rosy memories when I lived here. I've been involved with Michigan as an alumnus and a friend since I left, but not at the level I need to do this job.
Are you going to Flint today?
I am.
But why?
Why? Because I think when I was here, too many people in Ann Arbor viewed the University of Michigan as being Ann Arbor with some extra campuses in Flint and Dearborn. And it made me mad because of my experience with all my students, and I've had many students from Flint and Dearborn as well as Ann Arbor, and my belief that the University of Michigan is a great university with three main campuses, not with one. And I want to understand Flint and Dearborn well, and I don't want to perform on that. I want to make it true.
I'm sorry if you've already answered this, can't hear very well, but
Yep.
What is your perspective on the broadcast rights deal?
So I'm truly not familiar with the details of it because it's been held so closely what it actually is in the Big Ten. I would say that I am open to creativity in funding college sports, but I think that an institution with the value and history of Michigan should be as careful as Notre Dame in selling that. And I think the value and brand of Michigan is at least as valuable as Notre Dame's.
Outside of the federal issues, what do you think are issues that are most important facing the University of Michigan?
Boy, there's too many to count right
Could you
now.
name a few?
I'm a lawyer, so there's some really important legal issues, so I tend to start with those. But I tried to address what I really think is the most important in those remarks. And what I believe that is giving this community, the university community, the University of Michigan community around the world, confidence in the stability and values of this place. And that's kind of my first priority because it's been a rough patch recently.
Do you have a vision for where you'd like to see the university go as someone who's attended here and trained your family in this area? Do you have a vision for where the university should step into this area?
I've read 1,000 pages of documents about that vision that they've had as part of planning processes here. I have a vision that we need to have a sharper vision and a clearer sense of priorities. When I went to Syracuse as chancellor, I told them I don't succeed very well by shooting in all directions at once. Okay, so I think my vision is making some tough choices about what the most urgent priorities are and making sure we achieve those each year. I'll be working with lots of people to set those, but it would be crazy for me to tell you what those are when I haven't talked or listened to the people on the ground. For example, at Michigan Medicine, which is massive and which I need to learn a lot about.
There was some concern at Syracuse, obviously, about the bias-related incidents. Can you walk us through your response there and what lessons you might draw from that to bring to Michigan?
Sure. So I've been chancellor at Syracuse for 12 years, and like at Michigan, we've had occasional incidents of troubling behavior, often based on race or religion. And what we've learned at Syracuse, what I've learned is that whatever else you have to do to be successful, all our students have to be safe first, and all our students have to be welcome first. And you have to have systems in place to make sure that when you say you're welcoming to all, and that everyone is safe to be who they want to be, you have to actually make sure those are true and are systematically available. And when an incident happens, you have to respond quickly and appropriately and treat people like adults. That's mainly what I've learned from those experiences.
Sarah Abbott with the Detroit News. I apologize if you answered this, but you were part of a private equity think tank. Has anything that you learned from that changed your mind on private equity? That's a big thing.
I was not part of a private equity think tank. I was part of a group of people trying to come up with a solution for college sports. It included some members who came from private equity, but it wasn't a group that was trying to invest or buy anything. It was trying to come up with a model for a national college sports league with regional divisions that made sense, and with a collective bargaining model so that student athletes, like people in professional sports, had a seat at the right table to create rules that were uniformly across all institutions. So, for example, you wouldn't have dramatically different rules applying at the same time to schools competing with each other. That proposal went down in flames, largely because it was opposed by folks deeply invested in the current structure. And I concluded that things had to get a lot worse before people would be open to this. And they've been getting a lot worse. So.
Michigan State is doing something similar with their athletics, buying into having invest outside investors. Is that something you would look at for here?
I'd have to study that. I respect Michigan State greatly, in part because my identical twin brother went there. but in part because it has a great leader right now. So I expect I'll be talking to Kevin Gutzkowitz and learning about their approach, but I don't know enough about it yet.
President Trump is in town tomorrow. Are you going to the Detroit Economic Club?
I am not.
Meet with him?
If
you were going, what would you say to him?
I'm due back in Syracuse tomorrow. I have a full-time job still, and it's a very demanding one.
Sorry.
What would I say to President Trump? I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. I'm so sorry.
What's your start date?
Last question.
My start date is my contract at Syracuse goes to June 30th, and I honor my promises. It's possible if they get a new chancellor sooner than that, I'll be able to start sooner. But
Charlie, one last question here.
yeah.
Let's ask you, and if you, I apologize if you already addressed it. You talked about University of Michigan saving your son, and you got a little choked up, it seems. What was that?
Well, I haven't asked him whether I can talk about this, so I'm going to have to ask for forgiveness. He was born with his ribs as concave instead of convex, and it got so serious that they had to operate long before anyone in the world had operated. So he had to have all his ribs taken out and replaced, and it was a very risky, unprecedented surgery, but because the University of Michigan had the best people in the world and the most innovative people in the world, it worked out. And it wasn't just the doctors, it was the nurses, the decency of everybody from the people who worked the parking garages, that it was an amazing experience. And I know that's what they do every day, but we just have terrific respect for those folks.
You would not have taken any other job except the one at University of Michigan. Is that right?
That's correct. I had a year's sabbatical, full pay, and an opportunity to spend that in Florence, Italy, London, and Madrid.
So you're skipping it?
And I speak Spanish and always wanted to spend time in Spain and never have really. So no, that wasn't the plan. But I'd much rather do this.